She's caring, kind, and nurturing. And usually when people see her, they think, oh, she's sugar and spice and all things nice. But can being lovely be a curse? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing on today's DKW show. You don't want to miss this one, ladies, so grab yourself a hot cuppa.
This one's for the girls. This one's for all the girls. This one's for the girls who love without holding back, who dream with everything they have all around the world. Yeah. This one's for the girls. This one's for all the girls. Yeah, this one's for the girls. This one's for all the girls.
Hello and welcome to DKW. You know what time it is? Sunday, 4 p.m. We wouldn't want to miss this show today on the couch. We are talking about being lovely. When is being nice not nice for you? And can lovely be a curse? Well, that's what we're going to be discussing on today's DKW show. And I've got my presenters with me, Kim and MJ. How are you ladies doing?
We are lovely.
Lovely.
Would you say that you guys are too nice or too lovely, or you know you're balancing, you know when being too nice is not nice for you?
Well,
You go ahead,
I
Kim.
think I can be a bit balanced. As I was saying to you ladies, me being lovely is me being here today because I'm so tired. Can't say no.
Well, I think sometimes I'm way too lovely. I think I have the problem of being lovely, too much lovely.
Too much.
But as well, you know, people might be at home and think, what they are talking about, being
Yeah.
lovely, how come that can be a curse? We are not speaking about being lovely in terms of appearance and beauty, is the fact that sometimes some of us we can't just say no to anything. We say yes to everything, and then this yes and this being lovely to everybody and everyone, that's what causes some little problems sometimes,
Problems.
isn't it?
Some little problems that become big disasters
Yeah.
afterwards. But just to let you know, we are going to be having psychologist Jackie Marston on the show talking about when lovely can be a curse. But before we get into the subject matter, as usual, we have our news pieces. So MJ, please take it away. I want to find out what's been happening.
Well, our news pieces today are a little bit different because we chose some news pieces that has everything to do with the subject of today. Our first one is, did you ladies know that 1 in 3 Britons will take on debt to pay for a Christmas gift?
Not surprising.
Now, why do you think people fall for this when everyone knows that in a few weeks' time everything will be on sale?
Very good point.
It's not even a few weeks' time, it's the next day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I thought I was the
Yeah,
only one
it's
that
the next
did
day.
that. Do you know, this is so bad. I'm so sorry to like burst everybody's bubble, but if you guys are online on Christmas Day, if you go to the main retailers, they drop everything to like 50, 70% off. So like some of my family members were really cheap. They would never buy us the actual Christmas presents. What they would do is like, right, we're going to save all of this money, and then on Boxing Day, we're going to run down to Oxford Circus, and then you can have whatever you want. And that's what we used to do by tradition.
Yeah, but then
Really?
Yes.
but then it's what, but
I know
then
it sounds wrong.
your family works, but there might be families out there that will think, oh no, I have to give it on the day, it's Christmas Eve, that's the tradition.
Yeah, but this is the thing. That's where this is for me. That's where being lovely sometimes is a curse, because some people will run themselves into hundreds of pounds and sometimes thousands of pounds of debt just so on Christmas Day someone can open up a present and, you know, okay, they might say, yeah, but the joy on his or her face is priceless that morning. But it's not priceless when you're killing yourself for the rest of the year to pay off that credit card.
Oh,
So-
humbug, humbug, you people.
It's true. I feel
You
like
tell
such a
us.
meanie.
You
but
tell
it's
us, Kim, you
true.
have children, isn't it?
I was going to say, you can do that when you don't have children.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we work the whole year.
Yeah.
Okay. One day of the year, we all come together where everyone is in the spirit of Christmas, exchanging gifts, doing nice things for each other, preparing lovely meals. And, you know, it's just a nice thing to open something on the day. I don't advocate going in debt because
Yeah.
I could do a whole show about going into debt. Don't advocate that. I do believe that adults, if they can, should wait for Boxing Day. The children, I've tried that gimmick on my kids and they're just not
Didn't
having it. Not having it. I said, I'll give you a picture of your Christmas present. Not having it.
No, but you know, I'm so sorry to dwindle on this particular subject because even though we're giggling away, 1 in 3 is a large number. So, you know, if you've got 9 people, 3 of them are going to be in debt. And do you think that sometimes society kind of coerces people into thinking the only way that you can be a lovely person is by giving that gift? Do you really think that it's a thing whereby it's people and even children, like you mentioned the kids, like you tried to pull that trick on them and it didn't work? Do you think that now people are growing up where it's like it's a competition or almost like a theme or a forceful thing of being lovely on Christmas Day? It's like you have to.
I think with people, it's like, if we can't do a proper day for Christmas, it's like, my God, we're in a really bad way.
Yeah, I agree.
We're in a really bad way if we cannot sit down and have a proper meal and the kids can't have proper gifts. If one day of the year that we just can't be happy, we are in a really bad way. And I don't think people want to feel that way on Christmas, even though it's you know, you can see that everything goes down the next day. But if on that day, me and my family, we can't sit down and have a nice day, then we're really sad.
I think I agree with you. I think whatever a person might believe, I think Christmas for many people represents family and represents the moment that they gather together and they share a meal together. They might, on the next day, they might be upset again, but that day, you know, they choose to have a meal together and forget everything and just share that experience. So
I think it's about, you said, forgetting about everything for one day.
Forget about everything for one day. But we do have a comment as well from Vivian. She said, I have never gotten into debt for Christmas, even when I had 4 young children. They got what we could afford for presents, as long as I could put good food on the table, clothes on their backs, keep a warm, clean home. What more could they want? Now, now they are grown up and have children of their own. They stick by my ways. Necessities might have to be bought on credit, but luxuries we can do without.
I agree.
Makes
That
sense.
sounds so mean, but
Makes
and you know, she might sound mean, but it's true. I mean, you know, is it a necessity for you to put yourself into debt just to make sure that, you know, your kids can have whatever they want on Christmas? Is it a necessity? I know Kim's looking at me like, come on, Jennifer, but I maybe it's because I don't have any kids, so.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
the debt is the problem. That really is an issue.
Yeah.
But I think it is nice to make people happy.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I think there is nothing better than for you to see someone you love open a present or make that person happy on that day. I think there is nothing lovely than that.
Oh. Well, when our psychologist comes on, I'm going to be asking her a few questions whether if it's okay to run into debt in order for you to be lovely, see what her dibs are on it. But I've got the second news piece here. Most of us would like to go a little, or let go of a little as in wait next year, right? However, we've got Susan Eamon, who's taking things to another level. She wants to put on 3 stones as a part of her mission to become 52 stones in 2014. My goodness, that is amazing. I guess you're probably wondering why. Presenters, even I was a bit tongue-tied. I was a bit tongue-tied when I saw that picture. Presenters, would you want to know why? Oh, take a guess why, actually. Why do you think she wants to hit her mission weight of 52 stones in 2014?
I don't have any words.
I don't have words.
They're completely
I don't have any
speechless.
words.
Well, this is what she says. I am quite happy being fat. She's quite happy being fat. Her children are afraid for her, and so they asked her to go on a diet. And she lost about 10 stones, but then she put it back on again. But she told Closer magazine that she's happy being fat. And here's a quote that she actually said. I didn't feel like me anymore. I think that's when she had lost the 10 stones.
Yeah.
I like being fat. I love the feeling of my huge soft folds of flesh. Controlling my food habits was like having my main source of pleasure taken away from me. Last Christmas was miserable. I was only allowed a small bit of roast turkey, veg and fruit for pudding. I'm going to make it up for this year. I've put on about 10 stones so far and I feel so much happier. Doctors have told me that I may die early, but I don't agree. Wow, ladies, what do you think about that? Because, I mean, my thing is she's probably being too lovely to herself. She said that she didn't... No, honestly, she feels like food was her main source of joy. And when that was taken away from her, she felt deprived. So now she's on a mission to be 52 stones, even though that could kill her. I mean...
I wonder, with this diet that she was in, probably... I mean, she lost a lot of weight in quite a short period of
10
time.
stone, that is a lot.
Probably what might have happened, it was too strict. I mean, Christmas Day eating a bit of fruit for pudding.
Yeah, that is a bit miserable.
I mean,
We all know that during this time we all put on a few pounds.
and I think probably
So-
all that
Yeah.
deprivation must have made
Yeah.
her mind go into overdrive. But I think to try and to force herself to put it back on, I think that's a little bit drastic. But I think, you know, if she was dieting, perhaps it was too strict that got her all flustered like this.
Yeah, and you see, this is the other side of the coin, isn't it? Sometimes you are too good for yourself, too lovely, and then sometimes you are just too rude and nasty to yourself, and then you remove everything that gives you pleasure and happiness, and then this is not good for you as well.
Well, do you know what? One thing I wanted to find out was there must have been something behind it that made her either feel miserable or really good, apart from the diet. And I did, because when I found out about this news piece and we were going to talk about it today, I did ask my producers, and I think they said from one source, I'm not sure if it was Closer Magazine again, that she's into the whole thing of boyfriends that would feed her. So with one particular boyfriend, I think the first one, when she was on the diet, he actually dumped her. So I think, well, see, this is my dibs on it. I think maybe the root cause of that was maybe she felt like she was only attractive when she was eating so much, and guys would go for her when she was that type of woman, and whereby they would feed her and things. I'm not quite sure. But do you think that then, if that is the case, it's worth her jeopardizing her health in order to be attractive to the type of guys that she goes for? I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it.
See, like the fatness made her unusual. It made her special.
Yeah.
If dare I say that, made her special. And there are. I did watch a program about men who are feeders.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
She said.
What do you mean they are feeders?
They're
my
feeders.
producers
Yeah.
said
What they
she's
do,
got a
they that's what they do. They find women who, and that's the way of controlling them by feeding them until they get so big, they are completely dependent on the man.
Wow.
Yeah. So probably she was in that kind. She was a woman who meant. There's some men that's their thing.
But for me, the thing is like she's almost putting these relationships over her children, because her children, her children said they were afraid for her and they wanted her to lose the weight. But then it's like, who do you be lovely to in this case? Is it the kids or the relationship? The kids or the relationship? I know it's really horrible or bizarre shoes to be in, but if you was in those shoes, who would you go for? The boyfriend or the kids?
I would go for myself.
Or okay,
I agree.
there you
I
go.
agree.
Sorry,
I
I think
agree.
you have to go
Why?
by what makes you happy. And I know, because you will see during the show that I do have the problem of being lovely sometimes, but I think when it touches your health, then again, I'm saying that, and there is this little voice here that says to me like this, sometimes you do too much and you put your health at risk. It's true, but that is an extreme, isn't it?
No, but the thing is, she's pleasing herself right now by choosing the boyfriend who's the feeder
I
over
think
the kids.
she's pleasing herself now with the foods.
But I think she's pleading herself completely because I don't know the age of the children. If the children are adults, she's living her life for herself.
She didn't look very old, is it?
I don't know how old the children are, but you know, she's probably said my relationship. Now you've children of of grown
grown.
up. That's my relationship, and my relationship is with the food and the feeders. So that's probably what she's chosen.
Oh gosh.
It's so complicated.
Well,
It's a complicated.
yeah.
We'll be asking our psychologist who's going to be coming on, Jackie Marston, to talk about when lovely is a curse. So can't wait to have her on. But if you are suffering from this curse of lovely, please give us a call on 0207 686 6300 during the show and let us know your thoughts. And if you have any questions as well, we'll be more than happy to, go through them with you. It'll be a right fun laugh if you're too lovely. So stay tuned and we'll be back after this break. Hi and welcome to DKW. We are talking about when lovely is too lovely. That's right, we're going to have Jackie Marston on, our psychologist, who's going to be talking about the curse of lovely. In fact, you're on already.
Hi,
It's great to
ladies.
have
Lovely
you,
to be
Jack.
back.
Jackie, you've been listening to everything that we've been speaking about so far,
I
news
have.
pieces. What are your dibs on it? I mean, for example, the 50, well, I think she's going on to be
Yeah.
52 stone. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's a really complicated one in a sense, isn't it? Because there's so much we don't know
Yeah.
that we're speculating about. We don't know how old her kids are. We don't know about the boyfriend-lover situation. There's a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
But I would say, what I'm going to talk about today about trying to look after your own needs more, if you're giving it all away, looking after the needs of others more, putting their needs first. But it's always a balance. And if in terms of your kids, some mothers completely negate their own needs, and that's not right either. You have to look after yourself. But if she's doing something which endangers her health, which then means her kids might not have a mother at some point, that is really, really serious. I mean, I think the lady probably needs some support and help rather than media attention, because media attention is just, as you said, sort of is another form of attention. And maybe she's getting a bit hooked on the attention. I don't know. There's a lot of problems in our world about comfort eating. We eat usually because there's an absence of love or to shove down difficult feelings that we don't want to feel. So it's a really complex one. But I thought it was nice that you weren't just kind of being judgmental.
Yeah.
I thought you were being very sort of thoughtful about it, really. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. But Jackie, tell us more about yourself, and we're speaking about the curse of lovely.
The curse of
when
lovely,
is
okay.
lovely not so lovely?
Okay. So, well,
Without giving too much
Well,
away.
yeah.
okay, without giving too much away.
Yeah.
Okay, so, my idea on this really, it's my own problem. It's been my sort of own life struggle, so I decided to write a book about it. Is that everybody thinks they would want to be called lovely. Oh, that lovely woman, that lovely man. Oh, I wish I was called lovely. But for many people who are called lovely, that adjective takes a terrible price on them. It's like the price of nice. What is the price of nice? And for many lovelies, they feel trapped in the expectations they have created in others, that they'll always say yes, always help out, always be there, take the phone call late at night, do the cooking for the whatever, all that stuff, a whole variety of behaviours. They feel they have no options, that they can't say no. And after a while, that really begins to take a toll on you. And ultimately, it takes a toll on your health, because you're giving away your energy, you're giving away your time. When are you doing the looking after yourself things? And I think, at the beginning of my book, I tell this, people are shocked by it, but I tell it in a funny way that, I fell over and broke my arm, but I was so like, oh, I'm okay, don't worry about me, I'm fine.
With a broken arm?
Broken arm. Fell over at my cousin's barn dance. I'm fine. It's the school holidays, so I drive the kids around to their play, driving
With
with
a
the broken
broken
arm.
arm.
I just thought, oh, it's badly bruised, because it wasn't like the bone wasn't sticking out. Even I'm not that stupid. I had fractured the radius, which is the elbow joint. But anyway, it was really painful, and it was getting more and more painful. But I kept thinking, just carry on. I drove 200 miles to Somerset, stayed with a friend, with the kids. And then the final straw really was I went rowing on this trip to the friend, and she was like, Jackie, you said you've hurt your arm, you don't have to take your turn at the oars. And I'm like, no, I'll take my turn at the oars.
Goodness.
Finally, I go to A&E, and they're like, when you've broken it, when did you do this? And I was like, 10 days ago.
My God.
And they're like, you know, you've got to start looking after yourself.
Yeah.
And that was the line for me.
Realization.
But even though that's a kind of crazy story, the more people I tell that story, people have their own version.
Yeah.
People collapse at work, people have colds and flu that they don't deal with, and then it becomes pneumonia and they're suddenly in a hospital.
Yeah.
It's almost like everyone has the version of that, not
Yeah.
looking after themselves. And that's just one part of this curse of love. The other is, you know, really all this stuff about how hard it is to say no.
But
Do you know-
why do you think, sorry,
One
do
and
you-
then two.
why do you think it's so hard
Yeah.
for a person
Okay,
to say
well,
no?
It comes down to kind of what our beliefs are, our thoughts and beliefs. And beliefs often come from childhood. And I talk about in my book, you know, there are two types of sort of curse of lovely, really. There are people who avoid anger, who are very frightened of conflict because maybe
Yeah.
they saw
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
and they
We all
can't
suddenly
bear.
think, yeah,
If they say,
they
oh,
can't
I can't
take
do that.
conflict, yeah.
And there's anger in that person's
Yeah.
life. They're almost phobic about
Yeah.
anger. So they
Yeah.
avoid it, and then it becomes a habit which you can't break.
Yeah.
Then the other side of the coin is the people pleasers who are kind of addicted to approval. But to me, there are two sides of the same coin. Like, I'm both.
Yeah, I have
I am
to say
both.
that I'm both as well.
Ah, yeah, and many people are. Some people have one is more dominant than the other one, but they are the same side of the coin. So like you become addicted to the approval because that's so much nicer than the anger.
Yeah.
And then again, suddenly you find yourself trapped and suffocated, and all what you view are negative emotions you shove down inside, like your anger often, your own anger. You're scared of other people's and your own. You shove it down inside, and it bubbles away like a volcano, and then it will erupt. Of course it will. It has to go somewhere. And then all the people around you who thought you were lovely, they are so shocked.
They're like,
And
oh
they
my
go, oh my
gosh.
God, I thought you were nice. You've just shouted at me. And then, of course, you sense
feel
the disapproval.
miserable.
So it just perpetuates the cycle. And you think, oh, I must be super nice now because I shouted
Got
at
to make
them.
up for it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Jackie, everybody wants a friend like that.
Ah, the lovely.
Everybody
Yeah.
wants a lovely friend.
Yeah.
You know that person that you can call any hour
Yeah.
of the day or
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Oh, go and pick up my kids from school. Go and do.
Exactly.
Everybody wants you as their friend,
Exactly.
and that must make you feel good because you're just so needed.
That's such a good point. And that's, again, what I say to people. You have to be aware of like what I call the hidden gain. So at the point where you're going, oh, you know, all these people are asking me to do things, they're ringing me late at night. You have to think, okay, why did this suit you once? And it's because I feel really popular, I feel really loved, I feel really liked. And then you have to dare, very small steps at a time, to begin to change that behaviour at the point where you realise, almost like this is killing me. I mean, I got away with a broken arm, but, you know, a friend of mine is researching a book on cancer. She calls it the cancer personality. I mean, don't want to blame anyone against cancer,
No, it's
obviously.
true.
But many doctors will say this kind of self-sacrificing to the point of martyr person. They so neglect, they're out of touch with their own body. You begin to not even know what your body is telling you because you override all the signals.
Wow.
And you don't listen to yourself.
I think as well,
You know.
I think as well, I don't know, don't you think that people like that, sometimes other people actually take advantage of them?
That's what I think this lady was saying.
Yes.
Is that, you become,
But then
you create their expectations and then they exploit you. Well, not all of them do, but
No.
certain ones do. Yeah,
Of
can you get
course.
my kids again? Oh, you're so great, please do
Yeah.
this again. Ringing up late at night, oh, my boyfriend hasn't returned my call. They absolutely, you become exploited at work, by your children, by friends. And I always say, maybe we're not all curse of lovelies, but I've yet to meet a person who is assertive in all areas of their life. We all have one area where, because we're not, our confidence is lower about are we loved and liked, and that might be in our relationships, with our friends, at work, or with our children, or with maybe our parents and siblings. I've yet to meet that person who can really deals well with all of those areas. You know, a lot of my clients, they're amazing at work, they manage 100 people, they're super assertive. They are doormats to their kids.
It's true.
Or they're doormats to their partners.
Yeah,
You know? And it's like, I think, can you use those skills you use at work with your children? They kind of go pale. And I will say, what's the fear? I try and uncover as a psychologist, unpick, what is your fear? And of course the fear there is, they won't love me. Because they feel guilty because they're a working mum, especially the us poorer working mums. A lot of guilt. So it's like, oh, I buy them everything. I take them shopping on Saturday. I buy their love. You were talking about that earlier with the Christmas presents.
yeah,
Buying their love. It's not a good message to your kids in a way. It's not. It's kind of like, I love you because you're my child, because of who you are, your qualities. I will give you an hour of my time on Christmas Day to make something out of a box or play with you, rather than, I will get you the iPad. You know, I would say that's better.
Yeah. Well,
But it's difficult. It's not easy. None of this stuff is easy. I don't pretend it's
No.
easy.
We know. I know it's not, because as we will see on your quiz, because I believe you have a quiz for us later on, isn't
Yes,
it?
I do.
But first, we actually put in our Facebook page, we ask that to people, how hard it is for them to say no, and, you know, in which areas of their lives is hard to say no.
Okay.
So we have quite a few comments. We have a comment from Jaquel that said, I find it hard to say no because everyone that asks me something is a friend or relative, so it's hard to say no to them. Liz said, I find it really hard to say no, she even put no like capital, to people even if I don't want to do it, and I still say yes, just because I don't want to hurt people by saying no, like what you said before as well. And Queasy said, when I was younger, I used to sacrifice my feelings for other people. Now, if I really can't do something or don't want to do it, I say no. I'm nice about it, but I learned to say no so that I could save some time to myself.
Very good. She's our role model.
She's our
That
role
one,
model.
whatever her name is.
Are these typical of the curse of lovely, these examples?
Yeah, absolutely. There's this belief, you know, about hurting others' feelings, saving their feelings. But sometimes that's a cover for the fear of the anger.
Right.
Because when someone's disappointed,
Yeah.
they're going to look a bit angry in the moment. Disappointment is a sort of form of anger, isn't it? Or it could be if you're very sensitive to anger, like, oh, why can't you come to my party? Why can't you pick my kid up? They're going to look a bit like that.
Yeah.
If you are phobic and very sensitive about anger, you will avoid that at all
Yeah.
costs. So I've got lots of really practical tips for what I say, like, you know, how to say the gracious no. So for those of us, all of us really, who don't want to be disliked or don't want to be unpopular, there are ways of saying no. There is a way of buying time so that you don't have to say no in the moment. Because if you're a beginner like me, you know, like you're trying to break the habit, it's so difficult.
really
You have to help yourself. You know, so you buy time. You say, thank you so much for asking me to pick up your lovely child. That's nice. That's nice to hear. But I really have to check my diary or check with my husband or check with something which is away from the moment. And then you say, but I will email you. I'll text you in an hour. And then you say, so sorry, we've got the dentist. So sorry, I can't do it. Don't lie. Actually, never lie. I don't have to quit lying. But actually just say, sorry, I can't this time.
Do you know what? So sorry.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to give away all
Okay,
the tips.
okay, save those,
I
save
wanna
those.
Save them.
Keep them listening.
And also because you have to quiz us.
Okay.
And I want to use
want
those tips when
do you want the quiz?
But we're coming because we
Okay.
need to quickly go to a break. And after the break, like I was saying, we're going to ask you, how do you say that?
Okay, all right. That's a
So
teaser.
we'll be back after this. Welcome back to DKW. We are talking about the curse of lovely. When is too lovely not so good for you, or not even lovely for your health in some cases? And we've got our lovely psychologist here, Jackie Marsden, talking about the curse of lovely. Now, Jackie, you've got a game for us that's making me quite nervous because the producers would not let me know what this game is about. So I'll leave it with you. You take it away.
Well, it's just so I wrote some quiz questions to see, for you all to see whether you have got the curse of lovely and maybe in which section of your life. Because like I said, you know, no one is assertive in all areas of their lives. And I think we all have one area, one relationship really maybe we struggle with. So, okay, I don't know whether you're all going to answer it. I've written 4 questions and they are themed to Christmas. I thought I'd make it a bit seasonal. Okay, so now I know you haven't all got children. So I say like your child or maybe your godchild or nephew or niece asks for an expensive gift for Christmas, which is more than you want to spend. What do you do?
Who wants to go first?
You had this in the first section of it, didn't you?
If it's more than I want to spend, I would try a little bit of negotiation first. See if I can bring them down a little bit. But if they really, really, really want it, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm not sure if I would say yes. If it's very expensive, I don't think so.
Because that thing you were saying before about debt,
Yeah.
you wouldn't, but you're
I
always,
wouldn't put myself in that situation.
I'm guessing this is Kim's area of lovely, that she can't say no to her kids. I think she's a very assertive lady, but I think her weak spot is her kids. Okay, Jenny, maybe.
I answered in the beginning, no,
See, she's assertive on this
I
one.
wouldn't. I just wouldn't. I love you. Next time I could save up and then we'll all go IMAX somewhere or something. And my nephews know, they're probably watching now like, oh, darn, yes, I won't buy it for you if I don't have the funds.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so it's interesting, isn't it? It's interesting how we differ. MJ?
It really depends on the person, isn't it? I don't have children. I don't have nephews. But I do have a brother that I love very much.
You would.
So I would.
I think she would. I think she
yeah,
would.
I wouldn't get myself into debt for it, but I would try my best to give him something that he really, really wants. And I think it is for the fact that I didn't see him growing up because he lives in another country. So, you know.
You're trying to make up a bit.
Yeah.
Maybe. This is where we have to unpick
Yeah.
our motivations, you see.
Yeah.
As long as we have clarity about our motivation, then that's okay. I mean, it's up to us what decisions we make. It's when we are driven by unconscious motivations, like they won't love me if I say no, and to challenge that a bit, you know, because of course they will still love us because we're
Yes.
our parents or the
Yes.
sister or, you know, the godmother or whatever. Interesting, because you were self-confessed lovely, but you were quite firm on that one. And you were firm before that you definitely wouldn't go into debt. All right, question 2. A friend gives you tickets to her daughter's Christmas concert, but you don't want to go. What do you say?
You know, I've got so many excuses I could give. I probably wouldn't go if I really didn't want to go.
Would you say, I'm sorry, I don't want to go? Or
No, I would never say that.
You'd never say that.
I would never say
you
sorry, I don't want
lie?
to go. I wouldn't lie either. I would give a genuine reason.
Like, I've got too much on at the moment.
Yeah, because I probably would. That's always the case.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say no, I don't want to go, because I wouldn't want to hurt the person's feelings. But I wouldn't lie to them either. But I'd find something that is true to say.
All right. So, but you said you'd love to hear Betsy sing, so I got you 2 tickets.
If I said I would love to sing, then that's different.
Yeah.
If I said it,
But you didn't say you wanted to go to that particular concert, but you had said in the past, I'd love to hear Betsy sing. Tell me when. And they didn't just tell you, they actually got the tickets.
they bought me tickets.
Yeah, piling it on. There's a lot of this about guilt tripping, isn't it, a bit, and how we can... Anyway, go to the others on that one.
I would go.
I would end up going, I
Yeah.
know me.
So even if maybe, you'd
Yeah.
really knackered, you didn't want to...
Yeah, I know myself, I won't end up going.
Yeah, I
Okay,
would go. as well.
hard to say no to that one maybe, but yeah. Okay, number 3. This is more than... So we've done kind of children, friend, now we're into relatives. Your mother has invited a relative you really don't like to your house for Christmas lunch, saying one more won't make a difference. Oh, and by the way, can they stay 2 nights?
Oh.
This one
What
is
do you say?
This has actually happened. They're not staying 2 nights.
Yeah,
She actually did that.
I love it.
I was really upset, but I because she was my mother and I didn't want to embarrass the person, I dealt with it. But that has happened, but I was not
But
best
you
pleased.
let them stay.
I didn't let them, they didn't need to stay.
Oh, I see. Even the lunch, they came to the lunch.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
my
she
mum does things like that.
Well, a lot of relatives do. A lot of
She
mothers,
does things like that, and it
fathers.
really makes me upset when she does
Yeah.
that. But I would smile it through, and I would.
Smile it through.
But I will tell her that was really wrong.
You see what tends to happen then if we smile it through, great phrase, but we tend to, our resentment seeps out in our body language. And that poor person, the unwanted guest, they kind of pick it up as the Brussels sprouts. And it's that the smile is a bit gritted. She's laughing in recognition. Okay, you two. The mother invites the unwelcome relative.
Yeah, because like Kim, it's happened on several occasions, so yeah.
Wow.
And I better not let that resentment slip through because I'll never hear the end of it when they leave, so yeah.
So you would be a good girl.
Yeah.
Love. Okay, oh, lots of lovelies here with the relatives.
The relatives.
Relatives,
Is a thing, isn't it?
yeah.
Well, it wouldn't happen to me just for the fact that, as I said before, I live in the UK and my parents don't live here. But my mum, when I'm over there, she does invite people sometimes. And then she comes to me and says, oh, you know, I invited that person, you know, just you know, be nice. And I've seen her doing that with her sisters. You just be nice. I invited that person. Just be nice, just for today, you know, that kind
Just
of
for
things.
today.
And
See, that's the mothers exerting,
Yeah.
making you lovely little girls.
Yeah.
It's quite gendered. It's more to girls and women than boys. No, you know, do mothers really say to their sons, "Go and just be nice,
yeah,
put on the smile, be lovely"? It is.
yeah.
You know, we've got to stop saying this to our little girls, to be honest. We say have nice manners, but don't kind of, you know, be lovely if you really don't want to do something. Be straightforward.
Yeah.
Be straightforward if you can.
Yeah.
So have I got time for one more?
Yes.
Yeah. One more. You're liking this, aren't you? Okay, this is about work then. So this is an area that's difficult for some people. Your boss gives you some urgent new work to do at 4 p.m. when you were planning to leave on time to get to an important event or something important to you. What do you say?
I will do it.
Yeah.
I would do it.
I will do it.
Because
I have to.
you'd be fired. You fear you would be fired
No,
otherwise.
I wouldn't fear that, but I would I have like this sense of
duty.
that I
And the
have to do
responsibility.
it.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of like, with me, I just feel like if I do not do it, I know no one else will be able to do it.
And now my fact is not even that. It's because it's something that maybe doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
So if it does happen, I do have that sense of duty that I have to do it.
Yeah.
And it does happen a few times already.
Okay.
And I do it.
So I think it's is it
Yeah,
most assertive lady in the bunch.
Do you know,
It depends.
it really depends on what the event is. If it's something to do with my children or
Yeah.
my family,
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Not that I don't
Let's
want
say
to do
it is.
it.
It's an important event
Yeah,
to
if it's
you,
an
whatever
important
that
event,
is. Yeah.
then probably no, I wouldn't.
How would you say that to the boss?
What I would do, I would try and make a compromise. I'd find a way if it's something I can do. If you need me to make a couple calls while I'm driving to the event, I
okay.
might just do
Yeah.
that. Or I might find somebody else who could probably step into my shoes. I'll probably coerce somebody else to do it.
Right. Right.
And that's
So
how
try
I do
and
it.
find a solution.
Yes, I'll
Another
find a solution. But
Or
if
look for a solution.
I would look for a solution, but I would not.
Just blindly say
No,
yes. Kind
I
of thing,
wouldn't.
like.
And I wouldn't
Okay.
put my family's welfare into jeopardy by just saying, forget what you're doing, I'm staying back at work.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that.
See, so that's the end of my quiz, really. That's wonderful. That shows the whole array of. That's so interesting, isn't it? You would have no trouble of saying no to the present, the over-expensive present. You would struggle with that one.
Yeah, I would
You
struggle.
would have no trouble really saying to the boss, "Come on, you know, let's find a way. I can make, you know," you sort of saying no to that. But you two would struggle to say no to that. The relative, oh my goodness, everyone is going to have that relative for Christmas dinner. But obviously, because family is important to all of you, and that's maybe the hardest one to about. It's about setting boundaries, isn't it? It's about where we feel comfortable setting limits.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's okay, but you know, there's this wonderful phrase, you know, setting limits sets you free. It's good for you. It's quite good modeling for your children. That, you know, this is where I stop, this is where you start, this is what I need. And, you know, not hard and fast rules, but almost like each one on its merit for your own health, well-being and happiness.
So what would you say are the tips? Because I'm sure there's people
Yeah.
that are watching right now that are thinking, okay, I fit into that one. In fact, I fit into all of the examples that
Okay,
you gave.
yeah.
What on earth am I supposed to do now? How do I say no?
Okay, right, these are my top, let's say the top 3 tips, really. So the one I'd started talking about before, buy yourself time. You know, really, if you struggle to say no, then never say a yes or a no in the moment. Because you're always going to say yes, really. You're gonna go, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll have them. Yes, I'll do it. So it's kind of that thing, but win a bit of distance. Or if it's on the phone, say, I need to call you back. I need to check with something, my diary, my family, check with myself, my schedule. That's completely reasonable. And then say, I will get back to you, give them a time or a day and stick to that. Don't then avoid it, which is what a lot of people do. And then that's fine. That gives you time to, like I say, I think it's bad to ever lie. Don't lie, because then you'll feel guilty and caught out. But you can even say something like, I've been neglecting myself and my health. I'm really trying to say no to more things. You can say, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to pass on this one. Yeah. And then joining in with that, I designed this thing which people love called the gracious no. Because why a lot of people can't say no is because they don't have the language. They think only horrible, angry, aggressive people say no, like no, you know, which is horrible. So the gracious no has 3 stages, and it might include that buying time, or it might be when you come back. So part 1, you thank them for whatever it is they've asked you to do, even if it's crazy. So like, Mum, thank you for inviting great Uncle Alfred to my Christmas one. That's really kind of you, Mum, to not want him excluded, because that's probably where it's come from, isn't it? And then is the kind of fault. However, I just haven't got the space, or my child hates him, or I don't know, whatever, like, I just haven't got, or just no, I can't do it this time. And then part 3 is the throw forward. However, why don't we take him out to lunch in the new year?
Right, okay.
Give them another one. Give them, but only if you mean that. Okay. So like the friend texts you who you never want to see again. She says, hey, hey stranger, we're going to meet up for a drink. And you think, I don't want to see that person again. Don't then say, thank you so much for asking me. I can't this time, but let's get together in a month. If you really don't mean that, don't say it. But for a lot of people, you do, it's just you're too busy at the moment. So do a throw forward.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's the gracious. And then we feel happier with that.
Yeah. Then everyone feels happier with
Everyone feels happy because it has a good energy about it. The thing is, people confuse saying no with negativity. They are completely different things. Negativity is a kind of mindset and attitude where people are just miserable and going, mo, negative. No is about a boundary, which is about, I have the right to look after myself. It's about kind of how you sense your own Bill of Rights. I have the right to say no, I have the right to look after myself, I have the right to change my mind. Because you might ring someone up and say, I said yes to your kid's concert. It's gone crazy now with Christmas. I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to say no, but my friend wants the tickets, or can I sell the tickets for you? That's the throw forward. And now that sounds all right, doesn't it? You're just being honest.
I love that. The right to say no.
Yes, sorry, I should have said, what I write in my book is that we have got our own individual human bill of rights, our individual bill of rights as women, as people. It's not just women who suffer from this. And they're like, I can't remember them all. There are like 9 personal rights, but one of them is I have the right to say no. I have the right. I have the right to put my own needs first some of the time, because the curse of loveliness will never put them first.
That's one thing that I was going to ask, and I think it might seem a little bit silly, but how do you know? Because if a person has been like this for 42 years, you know, how do you start now? How do you know?
Such a good question. It's a great question.
Is it? Oh,
of
I'm
course,
happy.
because this is my journey. So I'm like, I'm 51. I've like 51 years of never saying no. So it's like very, very small steps. And what I do in the book, I do, it's a kind of cognitive behavioral therapy thing. You make your own hierarchy of fear. And you have, for what I call behavioural experiments. Behavioural experiment is where you do something different. So the hierarchy of fear, and mine is in the book, and at my 10 at the top, the most scary is, I can't remember what it is, but it'd be something like saying no to my parents, because that goes back, a bit like you, about the relative. I couldn't say no to that. That's so historic. Got to do what mum says. But number 1 was for me, I can't remember what it was, like maybe saying no to new clients that I can't take on. That was maybe the simplest. So I would start experimenting with that, and I would do the gracious no. New client rings up. I always thought, I've got to take them on. I feel so sorry for them. I'd say like, thank you for ringing with me. That's such a brave thing to do. I'm fully booked at the moment, but here are 3 other numbers of really good therapists I recommend. Like, hey, that wasn't so difficult. And then you do one little step, you get very empowered. And then your fear that the people will be angry or they'll feel let down or whatever doesn't come true. That was just what you cooked up in your mind. That was what we call your catastrophized image, that they'll be angry or usually they kind of go, oh yeah, fine. Even quite big ones like, oh, I'm really sorry I can't come to your birthday celebration, but can we do something next week? People go, yeah, sure. I mean, kind of good friends, people who care about you, they're not really going to give you a hard time. And there's this difference between letting someone down and disappointing someone. It's not your responsibility. Their emotion, like they are disappointed, that is their emotion for them to take care of.
Right.
So you have to separate, what is my responsibility? Well, it's kind of looking after myself and being a decent human being. But if they are disappointed because I can't do something, I don't have to put that right. A lot of Curse of Lovely is about, I've got to keep everyone happy. I can't.
That is a very interesting comment there. how do you distinct the two? Because if you're used to thinking, oh my gosh, I need to deal with that disappointment, I need to deal with the fact that they're upset, how do you deal with that?
Again, you dare to experiment. But that thought, to hold that thought in your mind, I am not responsible for other people's emotions. And that's another one of those rights. I have the right not to be responsible for other people's emotions, except maybe your children, because they're your dependents. And therefore you don't want to make them cry, or, you know. But even then, if you say, we can't afford the iPad, I'm so sorry, what else, how can we save for it? And they have a tantrum and they cry, they have to learn to cope with disappointment, because that's a life lesson. That's a really important life lesson. You then feel maybe guilty as a parent, but you don't really have to. That's their emotion to learn to deal with.
I completely agree.
And people in the world who are disappointed, or that is theirs to, you just do what you can.
I think you
It's not going to make you a bad, selfish
No,
person.
yeah, you said something really nice there that actually, you know, something just came here into my mind. Because I think sometimes you don't want to hurt someone, because maybe you've been hurt.
Totally.
So you don't want the person to feel the same
exactly.
thing that you have felt. So you want to avoid that.
Exactly. I
You
mean,
want to protect them.
lovelies are often very sensitive, compassionate people. At the end, chapter 11, I say what we want is, we don't want to not be lovely, but we want to be lovely, comma, with choice. So, and I find when you can say no, your yes has more meaning. If we can't say no, our yes has no meaning, because we say yes to everyone. But if people know we really want to go to their birthday party, we really want to do this because we can say no to others, then it's real love. And I find the more I learn to say no, I've been stepping forward with so much more giving and love. Isn't that amazing?
You have more time to say the right yes.
Stop, because I choose to. I've got the time and energy.
And that's it. I mean, gosh, we're coming to the end of our show, and I
so
love.
much.
No, it was absolutely brilliant, and I've taken on so many tips, and I'm sure you ladies have as well. Jackie, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you for
so
coming onto the
much.
show. And I just want to conclude with this. There's no problem in being lovely, but as we learn, we need to know where our boundaries are, especially if it stops you from being free to be who you are, obviously within reason, and if it means putting your own sense of well-being and even health at times at risk. Maybe sometimes we need to take a step back, reflect, and see where we can say yes and where we can say no. And don't be afraid, or don't be scared to be courageous to say no. Try it out this week and see how it goes. And let us know on our Facebook how it went too. Ladies, it's been great to have you on. I really enjoyed myself, but we'll have to say bye-bye for now. Take care and have a wonderful Sunday afternoon.